TV UK.
Good day and welcome to our program. Today we are exploring a topic that's close to many of our hearts, the importance of respecting all religions and fostering peace, kindness and harmony in our communities. In a world where understanding and mutual respect are more crucial than ever, we believe that equality and respect for one another are paramount. We are honored to have two distinguished guests joining us for this important discussion on interfaith relations and harmony in Birmingham. First, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Andrew Smith, the Director of Interfaith Relations in Birmingham. And thank you very much for being here with us today, Mr. Smith. And joining him, we are delighted to welcome Reverend Dominic Melville, Vicar at St. Michael's Church. Reverend Melville, thank you for gracing our program with your presence. And I respectfully welcome Bante Arunasiri, Assistant in Charge of Birmingham Buddhist Mahavihara and Director of Research and Research Centre of Pali Buddhist Studies in UK. Together, we'll be endly and insightful conversation about interfaith relations and the path to great harmony in Birmingham. We look forward to learning from their experiences and perspectives. So let's begin our discussion on building bridges between faiths and fostering a more inclusive community for all. So, Andrew, we know that you're the head of the Interfaith Forum in Birmingham. So we would like to know a bit about yourself and your current position.
Thank you very much. Really lovely and delightful to be with you this morning and to share in this really important discussion. So thank you. So my role is working for the Church of England, and I work directly for Bishop Michael Volland, the Bishop of Birmingham, as Director of Interfaith Relations. And so my role has a number of aspects to it. I spend a lot of time advising churches around Birmingham on how they can build friendships with people of different faiths, helping them think through what does it mean to be confident Christians, but reaching out in friendship to whoever's in their area. And one of the joys of Birmingham is that we have every religion here and all the diversity across the religions, including many different Buddhist traditions across the city. And so part of my role is to help churches really think about how are they going to build those strong friendships, work together for the better of society. I advise the bishop and others on issues that are happening in the world and responses. So sadly today, because of the trouble we've been having in England over the last few days with far-right groups seeking to cause division, I've spent most of yesterday and today advising the bishop, advising other people on how together we can counter the hatred that we're seeing at the moment and building a more friendly society. And then I run a number of interfaith projects as well, and so bring together people for friendship, for understanding, and I always come with the approach that we should recognise the things that we have in common, and there's lots of those, but also that we don't agree on everything and it's okay to live with difference. I love difference. And I think we should embrace difference, not be frightened of it, but say, that's where I start to learn about the richness within your tradition and your beliefs. So valuing what we have in common, celebrating what we have that's different is part of what I aim to do. So that's just a little bit of what I'm doing in my role in Birmingham.
Okay, thank you very much for that introduction. So I just want to know that how do you feel about your visit to the Birmingham Buddhist Mahavihara, the progress you have seen there?
It's lovely to be back. I have visited before, but about 10 years ago. So it's changed completely since then. Sadly, I couldn't get to the opening ceremony last year. I heard lots of good things about it, but I was away out of the country at the time. So it's very special to be here today. And I have to say, entering into the pagoda, is that the right word?
Yes.
The pagoda.
Yes.
And seeing all the Buddhas was a very special moment, going through that door and seeing it and sensing the very special nature of that place. You could feel that there was it wasn't just a room with Buddhas in, it was a place of meditation, it was a place of spirituality, and you could sense that in the room. And so delightful to see that. Birmingham has many special places of worship that we drive past and see, and I'm always telling people you need to go and visit, because there are so many that when you enter your breath is taken away. And there are many places like that across the city, and this is one of those. I'll be telling lots of people you must go and visit, because it's such a beautiful place, but also a place that is significant. Just been learning about the studies that you do here and the journals that you produce. A significant place in the life of the city. So great to be here. A real privilege.
Thank you very much. And we are curious about the concept of the Interfaith Forum. Could you please explain what it is and its purpose?
Excuse me, I make the objections for the Lakmali. The concept of interfaith, it's something new for the Asian community. The people who follow the different faith, they just consider merely for their faith and the beliefs. But when we come to the Europe or the Western world, it's completely different. So that's the one of the unique matter of the Interfaith Forum. Because personally, I have the experience when I was in Leicester. I work with the different faith communities. They are very much friendly and sharing every time with the different faiths according to their perspective. So as the Lakmali raised the question from the Andrew, so what's the purpose and the concept to develop the Interfaith Forum among the faith communities, and what's the objective to develop this concept?
Those are really important questions, and lots of people from all different faiths really are uncertain about what interfaith is all about. Yeah. I spend a lot of time talking to Christians about what it is, what the objectives are, and many Christians are also not used to it or a bit suspicious of it. And I think there are two things that people are wary of. One is, are we trying to say that we're all the same? Is it somehow that we're going to pretend that we all believe the same and it's all just similar when we think but we're not? And is that going to be awkward? People are worried about, will I find myself in a position where I'm saying things or asked to do things that go against my faith? Will I be compromised and find myself in a difficult position? Or will people there be trying to convert me to their religion? Is that what this is really about? And I'm very aware that those three questions, which I've had in my own life. I grew up in the south of England. I didn't meet anyone of a different faith until I was 28 years old. And so I came with all those fears and suspicions. So I think interfaith, when it's at its best, is very explicit about what we're about, the objectives. And to my mind, it has a number of very clear things. Firstly, it's about, to my mind as a Christian, we have the command to love our neighbour, whoever they are. And to love someone, I think, means getting to know them. It's not just seeing them or walking past them. It's sitting like this and getting to know them. And all our faiths teach that thing, that we should love and care for the people around us. So part of the interfaith dialogue is being faithful to that calling to care for the people around us. Interfaith dialogue, I think, should be a place that really is a place where we build understanding, but understanding for everybody. I think it's really important that any interfaith thing, everybody feels that they've been treated equally, that their integrity is intact. That you leave not feeling that you were tricked into something or compromised, but that you learnt things, but you also got to speak of your faith. Interfaith dialogue isn't one faith telling another faith what they believe. That you might call mission or other things, and that's fine. But dialogue is where I tell you what I believe, and then I say, now tell me what you believe. And it's not a debate where I'm trying to prove to you why I'm right and you're wrong. It's about saying, this is a view that I genuinely hold and sincerely believe, but tell me what you believe. And in that we suddenly go, oh, there's something a bit similar there. Yeah. We both pray, we both have religious festivals, we both meditate. But then we say, but there's something quite different there. Because as a Christian, my focus is on Jesus Christ. As a Buddhist, yours is on Buddha. And we learn things and we explore and discover together. And that's where it's at its best. And I always say that the best way to do interfaith work is also to grow in your own faith. Sometimes Christians say to me, but I don't want to do that because I don't know enough about the other faith. And they might ask me a question I don't know the answer to. And I say, well, there's two things there. One is you don't need to know anything about another faith. That's the point of going. And I always say to people, the trick is just smile and ask. Be friendly and ask, and then you'll learn things. You don't need to know anything. You just need to be curious. And if someone asks you a question you don't know the answer to, all you say is, I don't know. That doesn't mean you failed, you haven't let your faith down, you haven't let God down, you've been honest. But then the important thing is you go back to your temple, you go back to your church, you ask the monk or you ask the vicar and say, can you help me understand, so you grow in your own faith. So the object of interfaith work is to build friendship, is to build understanding, and to help us grow in our faiths, so that together we can then say, do you know, there's issues in the world, but together we can find ways of solving them. And religion ought to be what makes the world a better place. Too often, sadly, it makes the world a worse place. But it ought to be when we get together, we make the world a better place.
Yeah, this is all about interfaith. So these days we all talk about sustainability. So do you think it's effective for the sustainability of the country and society, this interfaith?
I think it's vital. I think to find a way of living sustainably, and whether that's in terms of how we use resources, whether that's in terms of our emotional sustainability and being people who are resilient, we need the faiths to be involved and work together. Solving the problems of the climate crisis, solving the problems of people's mental health issues is not something that government can do on its own. It's not something that any one faith has the resources to do. We need to be working together on this. We together need to say, here's how we are going to live. Here's how we are going to influence society to make it more sustainable on every level.
Yeah. So Reverend Dominic, could you share with us your life is as a member of the clergy in your faith? We'd love to hear about your experience as a reverend in the Christianity order, and especially being a reverend, and about your faith community.
Excuse me, Reverend, we are curious about, the people of, they always come and ask from us, even the Buddhist, how you ordain as a monk. So is that easy or difficult? The same questions are asked, from the clergy or the reverend as well. So personally also we considered, and we are curious to know what's the picture and what are the requirements should fulfill being to become a clergy, to become the father according to the Christian. Yeah, that's most curious and interested for our viewers to listen, to become the father and the reverend. Yeah.
I can only talk about my own journey, really. I think Christianity, like Buddhism, is hugely diverse, and the paths that different parts of the Christian church take, both for those who come into the clergy, and we have our own tradition of a community life of prayer for monks and nuns, who also follow a similar but different kind of pattern. But in every case, I think that there is a desire to see both a personal sense of call. So there'll be a sense of vocation for the person who presents for ordination or to come forth for a particular ministry, a sense that God has stirred something within them, but that might also be borne out by the community, because in a way, for me as a parish priest, I stand I live where I work. I live in this community. I'm 5 minutes walk from here. I'm your nearest Church of England parish priest. And so I'm rooted in the community here, but I'm also sent here from the wider church. Immediately from the Diocese of Birmingham, from Church of England Birmingham and the Church of England generally, but also within that, the whole worldwide community of Christians. So a sense that call comes both from without, from the wider community, and from within, and will then be tested. And for us, that's a series of interviews, finishing with a kind of residential retreat, with some exercises to undertake. That becomes the gateway to training. For me, that was 3 years residentially. For some people, it's, depending on their circumstance in life, can be different lengths of time. Different denominations have different lengths of time in training. Part of that is learning. Part of that is study, knowing the text at the heart of our faith. But also part of that is pastoral practice. It's about understanding one another and one another's needs better, and finding the right sensitivities to help us grow more fully human under God. And part of that is formation. It's about developing within us the habits of prayer and attentiveness, which should mark our ongoing ministry. And then we find ourselves, then we do a little more working a lot. The job develops. This is my 5th job in parish ministry. I'm often struck by the ways in which it's quite unlike others I've done, and the ways in which it's very much the same. Again, hugely diverse, different contexts, different places raise different practice from us.
Yeah, Reverend Dominic, according to Buddhist tradition, as a Buddhist monk, we have the daily routine. We wake up early in the morning and doing the etiquettes and the practicing meditation and the chanting and do some programs. There are some daily basis we have to follow. Do you have that kinds of certain routine in the church?
So from the traditions from which I come, part of that formation in us is the practice of prayer morning and evening, and often during the day and at night too, in a formal way. Often said prayers, but actually I quite like chanting and singing. So St. Augustine, one of the influences on the emergence of Christian faith, he said those who sing pray twice. I think he might be right. So singing the sacred text is something I do in my daily prayers. Singing the Psalms, reading the text close to us. I think there's all sorts of ways, certainly for me, but I think more generally as well, in which developing a deeper understanding of how other faith communities pray often influences how we pray. Actually, the physical attitude we take to pray now in many Christian churches is quite influenced by Buddhist prayer, I think. And an emphasis on silence, on repetition, on meditation. In Christian texts, it has come from dialogues that we share in seeing how the understanding and practice of other people of faith can actually have a relevance and a purpose within our own narrative and our own practice. So there are many things I'm sure you'd recognize in our prayers and meditations. There are many things, certainly in terms of the text that we use, that might be different, but that doesn't mean that they might be alien. They might be, they'll just be not, the texts that inform my faith. I don't regard my allegiance to the person of Jesus Christ and to live my life around the texts of his teaching. I don't regard that as something about a kind of tribal identity that's over and against someone else. I just know these are the texts for me that are at the heart of my understanding of God, and they will be in places enriched and in places challenged by other people's understandings. But reciting those daily is part of the life of a priest. And then we have formal ways of doing that, because there's a particular discipline that's expected of those of us who are ordained. But actually, particularly in the tradition that I'm in, the Church of England, there was an understanding that that wasn't just for priests, it was for everybody within the community, and developing ways in which that's manageable when you've got to get the kids to school and you've got your job to do, or hold down a number of jobs at once, and things are coming into you at all kinds of times. But finding the ways in which people might mark their days, perhaps more simply by prayer, but making holy each day by the way that we live it. And also, always for us as Christians, worship has been, and it's a huge part of my day and my job, worship is both that kind of explicit worship of prayer, but we also give God worth. Our worship is in service of one another, of our communities and our society.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Andrew, this is a request actually. So we'd like to propose to facilitating a future interfaith forum here at our place, so we can ensure a friendly environment. So what do you feel? How do you think?
Fantastic. Let's get a date in the diary now and we'll make it happen. That's music to my ears. I think it would be lovely, I think, to have an interfaith event at one of the Buddhist places in Birmingham. Hasn't happened very often, and so I think that would be a lovely thing to happen. And the only thing I would say is, what I always love to say to people is, see it as the start of something rather than just one event. Doing one event is a good thing, but saying we want to make this the start of relationships, because that's what's really sustaining. And meetings can be really useful, but they deepen when you say, you go into it with the attitude of this is the start of a relationship. So I would absolutely love to come and support you or be involved or whatever with an interfaith thing here. But we'd just push that little bit of a challenge to say, see it as the start of a process, and be thinking, we would love to welcome people here, but then we will look forward to going to somewhere else. Because that often is for some people a challenge. And across the faiths, I know Christians are very happy to welcome people to their churches, but I sometimes have to say, and now we're going to go to the Buddhist temple. So absolutely yes, but I just want to encourage those two things further in order to take it further. But what a brilliant idea.
Wow, thank you very much. And I want to know that, how do you feel about the time you have spent with us today?
Well, you've made us beautifully welcome, and the warmth of that touches me deeply. The phrase that rings in my mind, I used to be on the council of one of our mission agencies with a world focus, and one of its phrases that it kept coming back to was encounter and exchange. That actually the right way for people of faith to be together is to value encounters with one another and to make those encounters places of exchange. Your openness has made this feel very much in that tradition, and as Andrew has said, I hope it's something we can build on. I would really look forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. The welcome, the hospitality has been brilliant. Everyone's smiling. It's really noticeable. This is a place of smiles. But also alongside that, a place of spirituality and a place of study. There's real depth here. So really, really pleased to have been here and look forward to where this goes in the future. So thank you so much.
Okay, as we conclude our program, so I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed guests, Mr. Andrew Smith and Reverend Dominic Melville, for their invaluable contribution to today's discussion. So we have had a truly enlightening conversation covering a range of important topics, from their personal journeys to their current roles. Our guests have shared insightful perspectives on interfaith relations and religious harmony. Mr. Smith's expertise on the Interfaith Forum and its role in fostering understanding has been particularly illuminating. So we have explored how interfaith dialogue can contribute to the sustainability of our country and the health of our society. Reverend Dominic's reflections on life as a member of the clergy have given us a unique window into Christian faith community. Moreover, the principal wisdom shared from Bible on achieving successful in daily life has been both inspiring and applicable to weavers of all backgrounds. Your openness, knowledge, and commitment to building bridges between different faith communities have made this discussion not just informative but truly impactful. I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to Bante Arunasiri, Assistant in charge of Birmingham Buddhist Mahavihara and Director of the Research Centre of Pali and Buddhist Studies in the UK. Your valuable comments have been instrumental in helping me conduct this session successfully and smoothly. And also, I would like to thank our Dr. Venerable Kassapatera. So he's the backbone for us. So I'd like to, thankfully, I'd like to remind him. So, and finally, I'd like to thank you, esteemed and talented crew of Bright TV International UK channel, and their hard work to bringing this program to our viewers. And I'd like to thank Sanju Mutuheva and the Dazzling Diamond team. And to our viewers, we hope this program has provided you with new insights and encourage you to think about the role of interfaith understanding in creating a more harmonious society. So, thank you all for joining us for this important conversation. Until next time, let's continue to foster respect, understanding, and harmony in our diverse community. Thank you.